Good evening and welcome to the Look Finance SEQFC Preview Show with thanks to Vilic Law. Tonight, with me as always, I've got Lliam and Tony. Evening, gents.
Good evening, Joey. Hey, Tony.
Luckily, we're joined by Fyfe, obviously a player with Rochdale Rovers, pretty notorious around the traps, been pretty well known across the Brisbane scene for a bit. Welcome, Graham.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Obviously, tonight we're going to go through what we're looking at for NPL Queensland. FQPL's got a bit of a break, and then we might have a chat through what we're looking at the BPL. BPL through cap leagues, because a bit of a change up there for the back half of the season. But let's get started with the NPL. Gentlemen, this weekend, obviously, it's pretty interesting. It's got tight at the top and tight at the bottom. So might look at the bottom end first. I think it's a bit interesting. Obviously, one of your previous clubs, Graham. Redlands are sitting down the bottom, but they're close with company. They've got Gold Coast United sitting at 10th, East sitting at 11th, City at 12th, and then Redlands rounding out the bottom. Pretty tight competition. One team going down. What are your thoughts on these teams so far? Do you think it's going to be a pretty big fight for your old club, or do you think there's someone who might slip up?
Yeah, I think it's a fight for all the clubs you mentioned. To be fair, I've been at that end of the table before, and it's exciting but nerve-wracking at the same time. Redlands have had a tough couple of years, and I know the boss who's there now, Geordie, is my assistant at the row. So he's done a great job with what he's been given, and that win against East certainly kept it close. And you never know. I mean, the other teams have got points on the board in games in hand over them, but the sticky end of the season, you just need maybe a little bit of luck here and there, and it could be anyone.
Absolutely. Well, they're playing up against Moreton Bay Jets. That's Saturday. How do you think their chances are against that club? The Jets have been on the climb of the ladder. They're up to 6th at the moment. Obviously, quite clear of relegation and tapping on the door of Brisbane Raw Youth. Obviously, a club you're involved with. Do you think they've got a chance? Obviously, a bit of faith after beating East.
Yeah, they'll take confidence into the Moreton Bay game for sure. I mean, Moreton Bay and Royce have done a good job this year, and I watched them play a few times on the live stream. And yeah, they're attacking, they're exciting, and when they're on form, they can play really well. But Redlands will be hoping to catch them on a little bit of an off night, and get a little bit of the rub of the green there. And I mean, maybe 8 out of 10 times Moreton Bay would win this game. But you just never know. This point in the end of the season, you never know what can happen.
Oh, absolutely. It's going to be interesting. I think this is the best thing about having the promotion and relegation, is gets plenty of people invested in all parts of the league. Friday night, we've got a game. So Strikers actually travelled to Sunny Coast to play Wanderers. This is kind of an interesting one because both of these teams you'd like to believe are relatively safe. So 7th versus 8th. I think it's interesting. Do we think the Wanderers can have a climb, boys? I mean, they obviously pulled themselves out of that relegation battle. Lliam, what are your thoughts? Do you think they're going to be able to climb up?
Yeah, I think they'll get a couple more games that they'll break through in. Since the COVID break, they've really come on strong there, and they were like rock bottom, I think, there for a good few weeks. So I don't think that they've got any problems at all or any worries about going down. I think the Wanderers will certainly. I think they'll probably stay where they are, to be honest, around about that mid pack. I don't see them getting into the top 6. But look, they'll certainly have a few more wins this season for sure.
Looking to Saturday, I think the game that obviously stands out there down the Gold Coast, we're talking about it off the call. I know Tony's telling us rumours about one of these clubs, but obviously we've got 4th place Gold Coast Knights taking on Lions at 2nd. This is interesting. Obviously, Knights had a couple of hiccups, not quite on the same pace as the top 3 at the moment. Do you think this might shorten the top, Tony, or what do you think? This is going to be a make or break game in terms of who finishes up in the top?
I've watched the Knights play Olympic and in the last month. And beat Lions.
Yeah?
Whoever the genius is, the fact that after one loss has a bit for I reckon. Because they've had 2 other losses since they haven't sacked him.
Do you think maybe they're consolidating and looking to next year, Tony?
They've got the money. They can buy whatever they want. But money doesn't always buy you premiership or team spirit or culture.
Yeah, I think since the start of the season, Knights were you couldn't get anywhere near them. But since post COVID again, they've seemed to have really struggled, and I really don't think that the sacking of Gray there was in their best interest at all. There's something that's gone on there that's certainly wrecked their season.
It's I still think fourth's always an interesting position. I think twice, Graham, yourself, I think there's 2 finals. Obviously, Australia's a bit different, and we play the final series, and pretty advantageous. You can pick something up out of nothing. I think last year you played, of course, with Rochdale, coming from 4th to win the grand final in the FQPL, and then was it 2017? Same thing happened. You were able to knock off Cairns in the
final
as well.
Yes, that's happened a few times. It was my first year, 2009. All that time ago, it was the QSL, I think they called it back then. You know how we like to change it every year.
Yeah.
The QSL, and we were 4th. I think we scraped into 4th and ended up beating Sunny Coast Fire, Olympic, and Strikers, who won the league by like 19 points that year or something. So that was very strange because obviously coming from Britain, the best team wins the league, and if you're in the cup, that's good luck to you. But yeah, we won the final, and everyone was like, Redlands are champions. And I'm like, well, what? We weren't really. But I took it, and I ran with it, and I loved it ever since. So we were just the champions that year, even though we're 19 points off the top. And yeah, that year, 2012, actually, we just won the league that year. Whenever the finals, we got knocked out. So, and then 2016 was that year when we beat Cairns and had that FFA Cup run. And then, last year again, scraping in with Rochdale, and I said to the boys before the game, I've never lost a final coming from 4th, so let's not do it again. And lucky enough I won. So yeah, it was good. Picked up a few of those grand final champion winner medals, as they call it. So yeah, I've been a champion a few times, which is great.
Just run with it, Graham. Run with it.
I'm running with it. That's it. I'm in.
Smile and wave, mate.
Yeah. So I think definitely interesting coming into the back end of the season. Graham, from your career, plenty of faith for any team coming through if they've got the quality of player. For yourself, you've done plenty, and I think you were pretty dominant through the NPL until you've started to step back now. Did you choose to switch up clubs just to ease up your playing load, or any particular reason that move came about?
There was a couple of reasons. I think it was time for a change. Redlands is a massive part of my life in Australia, obviously, and I've got love for that club and always will, and some people that are there, and some people not so much. But that's okay. But yeah, look, it was time for a move to do something else outside football as well, because that was my full-time job there. So I picked up a different career move, and then just wanted to see where else I could go coaching-wise. So that was the main thing, was the coaching. But then when Rochdale asked me to play, speaking to Scott McNichol and the President Paul at the time, man, that were just, it just felt like the right club to go to, and it wasn't far from home. So I went there and loved every minute, to be honest, last year. And it was a pity I couldn't continue really this year, but you never know in the future. We'll see.
Absolutely. Last game of the weekend, the only Sunday game for the NPL boys. Tony, your team Olympic, the one that you gave us a live call from last week, they're up against Capalaba. Do you think they're going to maintain their space at the top of the table?
Yeah, I think they're playing consistent football. They're playing good football, and I just hope you blokes took my tip on Wednesday and put some money on the score.
Oh, mate, you're not allowed to do that.
How much did you win? You won like $1,300 or something, didn't you? How much?
Quite a few dollars. That's all right.
Good lad.
Oh, he called the score though. He did well, Tony. Didn't you,
Tony,
mate?
what's the call this weekend? Do you think it's going to be a bit of a different scoreline? Obviously, 1-0 against the Raws. It's a win, but it's not the win that I think you were talking us up about. How do you think they'll go this weekend?
I think this will be a tough game because Kapalaba, another loss, that could get themselves in that relegation battle. So easiest the score, it won't be easy.
I agree.
Yeah, I think for myself, having a look, Kapalabar's maybe been a bit quiet for the quality of squad they have.
What was that?
I think the quality of squad that Kapalabar have, I think they've got plenty up their sleeve, and I wouldn't be surprised if they've come out quite competitive.
Yeah, bearing in mind that the other games are on Saturday, so if a couple of the other teams down the bottom win,
yeah, there's motivation.
Kapalaba to come out all guns blazing, otherwise they're getting into a dogfight.
A dog fight. I like how you done that. That's good.
Oh, well done, Tony.
Doggies, the club will be happy with that.
See that's what I was saying last week about how this end of the season, when you got scraps at both ends of the table, there's just so much going on, and this is why we love football. Just takes one result to be jagged, or one upset result, and it just turns everything on its head, and good fun.
That's why the game's great. I think something interesting, obviously, for the FQPL this week, there's a bit of a break and a bit of a catch-up weekend. There's something I noticed, and I thought I'd put the question to you boys.
Sure.
Power still have a couple of games in hand, so obviously they're pretty competitive. They have a home run. They've got 6 games left, so they play Easts at home, City away, Raw away, Strikers away, Lions at home, Kapalabar away for the last game of the season. Do you think they can get enough points out of this to maybe leapfrog Lions and Olympic?
Oh, yes.
Because it's interesting mix there. Graham, you've obviously got a bit of work with the Raw, and you've had some experience against some of these clubs. It's going to be an interesting one. What are your thoughts, mate?
It's very interesting. I know most of the players, and there's some very good players. Looking at Peninsula, what I've seen is that there's been some games where they've not played as well as they should have, but they've still won, and that's massive, obviously, as you know, in football. So, they've got good enough players to win every game. But Olympic as well, I think they've been fantastic. I like the way Ben coaches, and they've got some game changers in there who can just score from nothing. So, and Lions have obviously won it for so many years and will be strong. But it's going to be interesting. I reckon there'll be a few twists and turns still, though. I just think with this year 2020, I think football everywhere in the world, you just never know what can happen. So, let's look out for that. It should be fun.
Also, too, as we get towards the finals time, it starts to literally heat up. It starts to warm up. So it's going to come a lot down to squad fitness as well, and who's got the best depth left at the end of this stupid season that we've had. So, it only takes 1 or 2 injuries, and it could throw a fair bit up, So,
good point.
As we get towards the end there, it'll be interesting to see all that, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely.
Graham, obviously during the week as well. I think it might have been today or yesterday. Mooney's announced the signing of Josh Brindle South. Forgive me, I sometimes mix him up with his twin brother Jay. It's too many times I've said that on the field to both of them, and I feel horrible. I think there might be the possibility of more recruitment from the state leagues or even below for the Brisbane Raw or other clubs as we look to possibly have a late December start for the A-League.
Yeah, well, first of all, it's great for Josh and Jess and Danny Kim's been involved and stuff. So it's great to see Queensland players get a chance. Throughout my 10, 11 years here, there's definitely been enough players, a good handful of players who are good enough to get a chance at the A-League. Whether or not they do well, let's wait and see. Who knows? Because it is a different environment, and you have to be more consistent and think quicker and as you know, like stepping up the levels. But the potential's there, not just for those two or those boys that they've signed already, but there is more players out there that could potentially do well. So it's great to see, and it'll be a good learning curve for them. It'll be good to see how they go, and then maybe, and fingers crossed, they do really well, and the more players can get an opportunity, because I think sometimes they just need to get thrown in to see if they're good enough, instead of people guessing if they will be or not. So at least we'll know.
Oh, absolutely. I think the A-League's a bit of an interesting league. Well, especially these days, trying to encourage the development of younger players through their own national systems. I think it's interesting because I know yourself, your name was definitely discussed about over the years in terms of incorporation to different A-League squads. You've got to look at Hero out at strikers, even Kazoo at Olympic. I mean, I think there's some lost opportunities over the years, especially yourself. But it's good to see some people coming through these ranks. I mean, I personally at times I think it's the state league's game to have people like yourself be able to grace us for so many years. But I wouldn't mind seeing some avenue to obviously try and bypass some of the restrictions of the A League to get some players in that are not just from Australia.
Yeah, I agree, mate. And like I said, if it was me or someone else that got a shot maybe 10 years ago for me, but that's okay. But yeah, I think we would have done okay, and there would have been a passion there. There would have been a desire to improve all the time, and it wouldn't cost clubs a lot of money to get players like that in. And I just hope they do well, and then it can cement more people getting a chance. Because this is going to be the test. So it's happened in other clubs. You see young boys coming through and doing well in the A-League, and there's no reason why people in Queensland and the young players can't. That's for sure.
Well, with the current travel restrictions too, the A-League may have no choice. If they want to recruit players, they'll have to look within. So look, I wouldn't mind seeing the likes of Joe Duckworth and Andy Pengelly getting a go. I mean, you've already got Dylan in there. You got Joe, and if you had Andy Pengelly in there with that front three that used to be with Pride together, they could surprise quite a few people, I reckon.
Yeah, they're good.
That's just my own personal opinion.
Oh, mate,
they're good players. Yeah, they're good players. Look, I've been involved a wee bit in the A-League, and it is a big jump. I think you just watch it on TV, and you see the game at the weekend, but the day-to-day life, training and professional habits, it is a big jump. So they're going to have to deal with that. And I'm not saying most could definitely have a good one-off game. Don't get me wrong. You see a lot of the FFA Cup. I always get that wrong. I want to say FA Cup. But you see a lot of upsets, and you see some great games with NPL clubs and A-League clubs. But to do it day in, day out, week in, week out, to get back, recover from setbacks, maybe not playing, and coming off the bench, and maybe getting some bad press at times. There's a lot more to it. But we'll only know if they get an opportunity. So the potential is there, 100% agree. And the players you mentioned are good players. But there is a lot more to it than just the game at the weekend,
Yeah, absolutely. Look, there's involved with it all, isn't there? Habits and the old habits that you have playing the NPL, having to jump the A-League and being completely professional. There is avenues that you have to look at where, is this going to suit them better, or wouldn't it not suit them at all, I suppose?
That's it. But not everyone will do well, but not everyone wouldn't. So you need to give it a go. And I think Mooney's going to pick well. He's been around. He knows these players inside out. So and he knows the environment they're going to go into. So good luck to them, man. I wish them all the very, very best. I really do.
Yeah, absolutely. What we might have a bit of a segue, because I know a lot of us spent this evening trying to figure out what's happening in Football Brisbane, and my apologies if I get any of the following wrong, but we might break it down, see what we can pass on what we found out. So from what I can see, they've split each of the Premier League as well as the Capital Leagues into the Premier and the Plate competition. Obviously, Premier being the top half of the comp and the Plate being the bottom half. As I mentioned earlier, don't ask me about relegation. We'll figure that out as we go along. But for the second half of the season, there'll be a round robin, and all teams will play each other once, and that'll leave 5 rounds.
I mean, does it have to be that confusing, really? Why can't they just keep playing? I don't understand why they just can't keep playing the league. Why are they got to do all this round robin and round 16 crap? Let's just keep going with what we got. And the top of the league wins. It does my head in with what this crap. Honestly, I don't understand it.
Would you rather come bottom of the Premier or top of the Plate?
Jesus.
You'd rather win the Plate, wouldn't you? I don't know.
I don't know, Graham. It's just having halfway through the season, and then all of a sudden you're just playing the rules and regulations of the competition, and you're playing something else. It's there's no need for it. Let's just play football.
Yeah. When it's a bit strange where if they do these cup competitions or why not just have a cup competition? So maybe a midweek cup competition, if that's what they want. They can play the same teams again, but might give those teams that are bottom of the league or fighting the bottom to go, do you know what? We've got nothing to play for because I'm not going to go into relegation either, but maybe the cup's our thing. Yeah. I don't know. Oh, yeah.
Tony, your thoughts, mate?
Do we want your thoughts?
The Muppet Show. Seriously, what are we doing? We change rules as we go. Why can't they just play 20 rounds? The 2 go down, the 2 go up, and that's it. Why confuse it?
Yeah. Football's a simple game.
Yeah, but people that try to confuse it, and I think the only thing that confuses themselves.
You know what I'm getting out of this is just there's a lot of silence, and that kind of says a lot. We're saying a lot without saying anything, aren't we? Really?
Because you know what? If I say something, I'll go to a game and they won't allow me in.
Yeah, you're already banned from Lions, mate.
Yeah, so can't say otherwise. The current climate that we live in with the koala society, too many protected species, so you can't say anything.
If I can play devil's advocate, do you think the quality of football will be better, boys? You got to imagine if you've got a pool of 6 somewhat likability teams, is this going to be more competitive? Are we not going to see as many blowouts like we may have seen earlier in the season?
Well, we'll just have a 6-team comp then.
Yeah, let's just keep football, and as Graham said, have a couple of cup games or one cup game in the middle of the week. Let those squads bring through some younger players, and promote some of their youth, and do it that way. To me, having these mid-season competition changes, no, I completely disagree with it.
I think there's a bit of agreement in this conversation then.
Yeah.
Graham, you've got obviously pretty extensive knowledge of European football and understanding, as you mentioned earlier in the discussion, the difference between promotion, relegation, and actually winning the season in comparison to what we love in Australia and slapping on finals at the end of everything. Do you think this might have been a year or possibly a chance over the next few years to encourage that system a bit more in Australia, or do you think that form will work for Queensland?
Do you know what? It's a good question, and I always thought it was very weird. I just thought this getting to finals is super, super weird. But I've got to admit, with the Australian culture and the finals and the hype that gets behind it, I can see why they do it as well. I can see why it makes it more of a spectacle at the end of the year. I'm still a fan of the cup competition, and then there's the final of the cup. At the end of the season, I'll always be a fan of that, the FA Cup or Scottish Cup or Champions League final, that kind of stuff. But I probably wouldn't change it. I would just add in a cup, because then you've got more games, you've got more excitement, you've got more knockout, and it gives other teams things to play for as well, even mid-table teams. So I get the cut. I get it now. I do get it. And to be honest, I've won a few coming from 4th, so that's it's a bit easy for me to say that.
Been very, very good for yourself.
Yeah, as that has, to be fair, yeah.
So I might run down these teams quickly, and then while I've got the opportunity, Graham, I think we might buzz you with a few questions. But so for the BPL Prem competition, that's going to be made up of Centenary, Ace, St. George, Taringa, Grange, and Toowong. The plate side of that will be Bayside, your previous club, Graham, Caboolture, North Star, Gap, Acacia Ridge, and Brisbane Knights, sorry. For Cap 1, Their premiers will be Western Spirit, Mount Gravatt, Sanford, UQ, the Lakes, and Brisbane Athletic. The plate side of Capital One will be Annalee, North Pine, AC Carina, New Farm, Ipswich City, and Virginia. For Cap 2, that'll be split up with Moggle, Slacks, Logan Metro, Newmarket, Tony, your Pine Hills, and Lliam, Ripley Valley. That'll be the premier side. And then in the plate, it'll be KPR, West Side, Oxley, North Brisbane, Clairvaux, and Barton. And then down the bottom, my two teams have been split. So in your premiers, you got Logan Village, Springfield, Redcliffe, Willowburn, Jimboomba, and Narangba. And then in the plate side, it's Teviot Downs versus North Lakes. You got Taringa, Park Ridge, Brighton, and Bethania. So obviously a lot more to cover. So we may have to have 4 or 5 more shows out of this if we continue this format. I think we're up to about on this call. Oh, sorry, that's 10, isn't it? I think that's 10 all up. So I think it's going to be interesting stuff, but interesting to cover nevertheless.
It just means a bit more study, Joey.
Oh man, I've never been good at study. Like, can't do the
I was never good at Cap 1 and Cap 3, but yeah, I'm just gonna have to get smarter, I think, Joey.
Yeah, I think we'll get Phil a bit more and get him to team up with Tony.
This is what I was harping on about before. I mean, because you've now got all these split competitions and cups and various stuff. It's just like you're already confused as to what's going on. And
no one cares, mate. Ring 800 for someone who cares because none of us do. It's all over. We're just going to watch the other games. As if I'm going to go and watch Annalee play Slacks Creek for a plate in Capital 3 or whatever they're in. Who cares?
I still think there's plenty of good football around, Tony. It's just going to be a little bit more effort to find it.
And even my mate Leo is now doing female coaching academies.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's with Ross Aloisi.
I was just going to say, is Aloisi at Olympic?
Yeah, at Olympic and Pine Hills.
Wow. Oh, it's fantastic. It was good to see his face still getting around in Queensland football. I know I saw him out doing a clinic out at Olympic before COVID hit, so surprising face to see, but good for the women's game. I know he did a lot of good work with Adelaide.
He's gone. I think Ross has gone back to Adelaide, hasn't he?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think he was. I think I saw him in a photo op on social media down in Adelaide, actually, just this week. Yeah.
Back already.
I think so.
Well, while we got a bit of time, Graham, I might hit you up about the future. I know we've had a few of the best coaches through. Obviously, Graham Harvey's been through. We've had Gray Pittock, Nathan we've had from Narangba as well. I thought I'd ask for yourself. You're a great mind of the game, especially within Queensland. Do you have ambitions to coach at a higher level or continue the career through that avenue?
Yeah, 100%. I always love giving back what I've learnt and picked up in the countries I've played in, and I'm loving coaching. Got the under-18s at the Roar this year, and I've thoroughly enjoyed that, even though it's been this crazy-ass year. Got an opportunity with the first team to go and help and be in that environment and coach, so that gave me a little spark to go and just be the best I can, and let's see what happens. So yeah, definitely, I'm looking forward to the future, coaching future.
And would it be to continue, hopefully, to a professional club in Australia? Obviously, you're working with Mooney, and I think he's kind of the flag bearer. Is that the ambition for you, or would you be looking to travel, or what's the journey look like for you if you could pick it?
Oh, a magic wand.
Tell us what the future is. Where do we see Graham Fyfe in 5 years?
I don't know, mate. But look, my favourite role would definitely be, say, like I'm a Liverpool fan. But if I had a Liverpool youth team job or something like that, would be my favourite. Like that would be the best. To do a youth team, and then assist or help with the first team would be awesome. So I've set my goals. My next 10-year goals are pretty high, but I'll just keep working every day on the grass as much as I can and see what happens from it. Because obviously you need a wee bit of luck and you need people to like you and. Let's see what happens. But I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, that's fantastic. And obviously, I don't want to make it sound like you're wrapping up the career or anything. Are you going to look to stay to Rochdale, or are opportunities open for your playing career next year? I know you had the stint at Bayside before COVID hit.
Yeah, I had that one game, and then COVID hit and it all stopped, and that never quite worked out at Bayside. The guys were fantastic. Trev was brilliant, and everyone there was great, but I think I was there only like 3 times. And then I came back and played the 2 half games for Rochdale, and I unlucky got a knee injury. First one in a long time. But do you know what? If I have time next year, I will definitely play. Coaching does come first now. We used to be football; it used to be the playing side. But if I've got an opportunity to play, I'm going to get myself fit and see what happens. I love playing. It's the only time I don't need to think, so it's good.
It's good. And I was lucky enough. I got to see the youth game at Rochdale on the weekend. What are your thoughts of the new complex out at Rochdale Rovers?
It's fantastic. It's fantastic. I was looking forward to seeing it, and I did. And I've not seen it open yet. I'll go next week to play Logan, and they're doing a little opening of the clubhouse. So I'll definitely go along to that. And yeah, it's great to see. It was one of the biggest clubs when I first came here. It was a club that everyone spoke about. Had a rich history and won a lot of things, and a lot of good players that came from there. And I played against a few, and yeah, it deserves to be at the top. So I was hoping to be there to help them this year, but Logan seemed like they've got that clinched. But yeah, it's fantastic facilities, and I think it'll keep improving, and it'll be great for any junior coming through, and anyone want to play there as well. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I like it.
It's great to hear. We might wrap it up there, boys. Once again, I'd like to thank Look Finance for supporting the SEQFC Preview Show with thanks to Vilic Law. Graham, thank you for your time again.
Thank you, gents. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us, Graham.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks for your time.
And as always, thank you, Liam. Thank you, Tony.
No problem. See you Sunday, boys.
Enjoy your weekend. Tony, I'll see you Sunday, mate.
See you shots, mate.
See you guys.
See ya.
Yeah.
Definitely.